Welcome to Captain Dick Smith Field here on the campus of Washington and Lee University for today's Old Dominion Athletic Conference baseball game between the Royals of Eastern Mennonite and the Generals of Washington and Lee. A cloudy, overcast day here in southwestern Virginia as the two teams meet for the second and final time of the regular season. EMU took the first meeting against the Generals 13-10 back on March 20th. They're now looking to try and get their revenge here on their home field. First pitch from Comer, buries this out to left field, and that ball is going to fly out of here. A 3-run home run for Campbell Charnecko. And the Generals take a 3-0 lead. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Zuleta lines it into center field to tie the game at 5. Make it 14 straight games with a base hit for Ethan Zuleta, trying to polish off a 6-out save. And game 1 of the doubleheader. The 0-2. Got him swinging, strike 3. 2 strikeouts in the ninth for Brody Pasica. Completes the 6-out save. Generals take game 1, 8-7. Let's put more of them together lately. This one out to right center. Hall on the run, lays out and makes a diving grab. Nice play there from Dylan Hall in center field. Ends the threat for the Generals in the second. Tapscott's delivery. Breaking ball on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Tapscott fired up as he gets through 8 strong. Comes with the breaking ball. Turns on this one. Hit to left field. At the wall. Give it a look. It's a home run. Campbell Charnecko, a 2-run shot in the bottom of the 8th as the Generals take the 4-2 lead. Top of the 5th inning between EMU and Washington and Lee. Thanks for joining us on the Washington and Lee Sports Network alongside Will Wallace. I'm Ryan Collin. You can also catch today's game on 12-Ounce Sports, grassroots sports with dedicated authors, show hosts, live sports across North America at 12ouncesports.com. First pitch to Wilkinson is fouled off. It's 8-9-1 due up for EMU here in the top of the 5th against John Benner. Benner is forced into labor a little bit more in the 4th inning, throwing the most pitches he's thrown in an inning with 19, but it's relatively stayed in control, just giving up 3 hits and a run so far, but has not gotten much out of his offense. Just 2 hits for the Generals, and they've committed 3 errors in the field behind him. That one finds the zone, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Be interesting to see what the strategy is here from head coach Ted White and the pitchers with this long layoff ahead. You want to make sure you get guys some work, but you also don't want to disrupt Benner in the middle of a good outing.
This one rolled into right field by Wilkinson, and the leadoff man is on here in the 5th.
Now batting, number 5, Logan.
We had Brody Pasica warming up down in the W&L bullpen during the last inning, so you wonder if that's a potential move in the making for the Generals, or if Pasica's down there just to make sure he gets some work in and throw some pitches.
So Logan Mason steps to the plate. We'll see what EMU elects to do with nobody out and a runner on first. Mason shows bunt, pulls it back, but it's a strike anyways. Sanders, the third baseman, playing a few steps in on the grass. Larson holding the runner at first. Benner will throw over. Not much of a lead for Wilkinson, knowing that Mason's turning the square. Sure, you want to be able to get a good read to make sure you advance to second, but also know that someone else is going to be keeping a watchful eye on you. Mason turns to square this time. He pulls it back, and it's high.
Mason does lead EMU this year with 6 sacrifice bunts. So the Royals have their guy up to do it.
And then he turns it over to the top of the lineup to follow. 1-1. This one chooses to swing, and it's now 1-2 as he fouls it back. So now with 2 strikes, Mason perhaps a little bit more reluctant. Try and lay down a bunt here, even with nobody out. 1-2, thought about going, and he held up. And they're going to look over his options and draw set on the mound. The 2-2. Fought back. This is just still the second time through the lineup for the Royals. All leadoff hitter waits on deck. 2-2, not very far out to right field. Ramsor positioning over to make the catch for the first out.
Now batting, number 19, Dylan Hall.
So back to the top of the lineup in Dylan Hall. One gone and a runner on first in the top of the fifth in a 1-0 game. All the walk and a ground out. A few nice plays in center field to go with it as well. First pitch fastball well outside. Obviously, EMU has some offensive firepower. This has helped them win games this year. They've scored 10 runs in 9 different games this season. And they've scored at least 7 runs in 16 of the 24 games they've played this year. The thing that has let them down at times has been their pitching. As Hall shoots this foul down the right field line. A nice catch in the bullpen out there by Brody Pasica, starting to warm up. But for EMU, it's a team ERA north of 9 entering the day. They've conceded at least 5 runs in 18 straight games. 1-1 as well outside. You have to go back all the way to February 29th. They played Vermont State University Linden, which used to be Linden State. It was the last time they held an opponent under 5 runs. They've been outscored in this 18-game stretch, 205 to 133. Runner goes. This one, a foul ball, and will sail out of the stadium. And in that 18-game stretch, they're just 5-13. It's not been for the lack of runs they've been able to produce so far. Zeros across the scoreboard for Washington and Lee over the first 4 innings. Royals, after a run across in the top of the first, have been held in check as well. 2-2 the count to Dylan Hall. The runner on first and 1 gone in the 5th. Payoff pitch. Hit to Zuleta. Go the short route to second, and that's the only play. Still gets the lead runner and gets the second out of the inning.
I wasn't so sure Zuleta was going to be able to get the lead runner there with how slowly that ball was hit. So good job of him recognizing that he had the time and gave Jacob Jackson a very accurate throw at second base. Good job getting the lead runner.
I'll bring in Alex Golisano. Still searching for his first hit of the day. Entered hitting .419 on the campaign. One of the 17 guys in the conference still hitting over 400 in the second week of April.
Yeah, early in the season, you're going to see a lot of 400s and sometimes even 500s, but being able to hit 400 this late in the season through 62 at-bats entering the day, that's pretty impressive.
Because, I mean, that's the thing. You look at Zuleta, who's been tearing it up at the plate for the Generals, hitting above 380. He's still barely in the top 20 in the conference in batting average, and you're hitting 380 something. Like that. That's the part that is crazy when you look at some of the numbers, but the ODAC has been a very strong offensive conference this season. We've seen a lot of high-scoring games across the conference, and EMU has certainly got themselves tangled in some of those as well. Another pick over to first, and Hall is in safely.
Gulisano. Very, very consistent this year. 18 games played this year, only 2 games where he's not registered a hit.
0-1 off the fist, barely over the fence and out of play.
So there's not like a 5 for 5 or 4 for 5 day that's keeping him up. He's consistently getting a hit and getting on base for the Royals.
Golisano finds himself down 0-2. Benner tries to bear down here and get the final out at the top of the 5th. Slider gets away. Benner looking in for the 1-2. Throws back, and Hall was leaning the other way, but just getting back in safely.
Yeah, Hall doing some more dancing over there at first base, and Benner almost caught him mid-shuffle step. Hall able to get his feet back on the ground and slide back in.
1-2. This one well outside as well as the count draws even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Benner being forced to work a little bit more here in the 5th. Upwards of 75 pitches. The 2-2. Line to shortstop. Zuleta will range back and make the catch for the final out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We head to the home half of the 5th. Royals still in front of the Generals, 1-0 on the Washington Lee Sports Network.